didn't pass, through the court system. The IRS won this. And so we look at those and we say, okay, let's adjust what we're doing. This isn't flying anymore. So we're just learning based on, what's being passed and what's going through the different court systems.
Oh, okay. Okay. So in your program, if someone's getting trained through you, they still have access to you to know what's going on in the industry and what they should look for.
Oh, yeah. So the way our training is set up, it's an online training where you have access to a lot of the documents, a lot of the rules. It's the federal laws on how to do proper accounting for federal law. We don't have state-specific training because the state laws keep changing. They change every quarter just about, and they're still being developed. So whatever state you target, you'll have to become familiar with that. But then as new stuff comes out federally, if there's a new court case that the IRS lost or won, we have a live portion of the training as well where we do Q&A calls. We have a live VIP group where you can go in there and you can ask questions in the group and get your questions answered by either myself, Andrew, or somebody else. We have over 360. Yeah, we have over 360 firms that are in the training program. And so a lot of times there are things that another person might know a little bit more about than what Andrew and I know because they're coming across this on their client. We might not come across that on our client.
Right.
Tank of just professionals who are becoming experts in this industry.
Wow. Yeah, there's always that story of, the gold miners. The people who really made the money were the people who were selling to the gold miners. And with the cannabis industry, there's so many opportunities, even if you're not an actual dispensary. And this is very unique. I didn't even think about this, but the space that you're in, it makes so much sense. And to be able to empower other people to do this. And, I grew up in a very conservative background, and I know there's a stigma around cannabis. And do you find that you have to overcome that a bit in your community, being that this is the space that you're working in? What opportunities exist for individuals who would like to learn the accounting practices in the cannabis industry?
Yeah, awesome. So we do teach how to do proper accounting in the cannabis industry. Wait, I think I answered this before we jumped off, and you asked a supplemental question after that.
Right. So, you said
there's something about the shovels and the miners, and then we went off.
Oh, yeah, the gold. Yeah, people who are mining for gold, and there's, you can make money off of people mining for gold. You don't necessarily have to sell gold to make money. And I think with the cannabis industry, you don't necessarily have to be a dispensary, but you could actually create an industry for the people who are in the business.
Yeah. And what I tell a lot of people, so they say for every $1 that's spent inside of a dispensary, that brings $3.50 into our economy. And so because these business owners, they have to pay rent. Oh, sorry.
That's okay.
Oh, somehow I turned on my windshield wiper. Okay. So for every $1 that's spent inside of a dispensary, that brings $3.50 into our local economy because these business owners, they're paying taxes, they have payroll, they have accountants, they have attorneys, they have to pay rent. There's just so much money that they have to spend to actually operate their business. And so I tell the accountants who are interested in getting into this, just think about it. Like back when the car was first created, that just opened up a whole new economy. Now you need roads. Now you need motels. Now you need gas stations and mechanics and tires and all these things. That's the same thing that's happening with the cannabis industry. It's just opening an entirely new economy.
Right. And,
And I saw an article, just one more thing. I saw an article that says in 2018, the cannabis industry brought 211,000 jobs to the U.S.
Wow.
Yes.
That is pretty impressive. And especially being that, I'm coming from a very conservative background, and just, talking about the cannabis industry and my family, it kind of raises eyebrows. How has it been for you, being that that's the company, your company is Dope CFO, and you're servicing the cannabis industry? Have you faced any stigma from the community that that's what you do?
Oh yeah, well, I don't really care what other people think, but I do have some family members. I was at a family reunion last year, and I mentioned to one of my aunties that that's what I do, and she looked at me so sideways, and she was like, "Well, I guess it's okay. Your mom's okay with it, so I guess it's okay." And then I kind of mentioned to her. She said she had some type of issue. I don't know if it was glaucoma or something. I was like, well, you should try it. You should probably try it out because it's a medicine. It's very helpful, and we're seeing a lot of the baby boomers who, and that's the reason why they make the dispensaries so nice and modern looking, so that you can feel comfortable and not, feel trashy walking in, because they know there's a lot of baby boomers who have arthritis and different things that this medicine can heal, and they're entering them for the first time, and they don't want to feel intimidated.
Right.
So I think about it as it's this great drug, a great medicine that I think is helping a lot of people. I've never in my life thought it was something that was so terrible. I'm not a user or anything.
Right.
It just doesn't do anything for me, but I've never thought of it as like it's something that's so terrible. Growing up in my life, it was kind of common in my community for people to use, but
right.
But yeah, I don't really care what other people think about about it. Eventually, people will come around, because if you look at what's happening, like all these people were locked up, and now the government is trying to give them forgiveness for that or whatever. And it's like, now that it's legal, now okay, it's okay. Like, people need to be able to think for themselves. If it's legal or not, just think for yourselves and figure out how you feel about it.
Right. Yeah, and not all, and I think there's another aspect of it. Not all of the usage of it leads to, making you high, so to speak. It's really a chemical that they remove, from what I understand, that you could use for medicinal purposes, right?
Yeah, so you can the CBD. So the cannabis has CBD. Well, several different chemicals in there, but some of the bigger ones is CBD and THC. So the THC is the stuff that makes you high, but the CBD is the actual medicine. And so a lot of times you can extract the CBD, and it has very, very little THC in it, almost like if you think about kombucha, how they say it contains some alcohol because it's fermented. It's the same thing. So the CBD does have a little bit of THC, but it's not enough to impair you or make you high. And CBD is what they give to, like, kids that have epilepsy, and it helps them with their epilepsy to prevent them from having seizures and things. And so yeah, you can just use that and not even and get high and still get the benefits. Right.
It's amazing what's going on. And leading to one of the last questions is that you recently wrote an amazing article on LinkedIn, and I love the picture with you and Snoop Dogg, and it was entitled "I Made This Happen and So Can You." You mentioned don't worry about the how, as long as you have the what. Can you share with our listeners how focusing on what got you to where you are? I mean, the article was about you meeting Snoop Dogg, and you've always wanted to meet him, and you could go into it further.
Yeah, so this came through those 2 years when I was unemployed and doing a lot of mindset work, and I feel like through, my education system and through working, a lot of times we get stuck on things aren't possible because we don't know how to make it happen. So if I say, I'm going to go meet Snoop Dogg, is somebody else next to me would be like, well, that's not logical. He's not like right around the corner. People want to know, well, how are you going to make that happen? And through my mindset work, I know that I know, as long as I tell myself enough times that I'm going to meet him, that it's going to happen. That as long as I know deep down inside that he wants to meet me, I told myself, why wouldn't Snoop want to meet the dope CFO?
Exactly. That makes perfect sense.
It's just natural. It's just natural. He wants to meet me. And so I told myself that, and then it just so happened he was in town for a concert. And my best friend, I told her, I was like, I'm going to the concert so I can go meet him. And she was like, what? And I was like, yeah, I got to meet him. I'm the dope CFO. And so then it turned out she was like, okay, well, I'll go. And then she told somebody, and they were like, oh, I know the owner of that club. I he said, yeah, I'll call him. He could get us on the stage. And so he called the owner. The owner, we walked in. The owner got us on the stage, and there's me hanging out with Snoop. So I didn't know. I didn't know that I was going to meet the owner. I just knew I was going to meet Snoop. I knew what I was going to do. I was going to meet Snoop no matter what. And so it just worked out because I just believe that's how the universe works. Is whatever you focus on is what you're going to get. So if I'm focusing on, I'm just a little peon. Snoop doesn't have any interest in meeting me.
Right.
That's what's going to happen. I'm never going to meet him because I'm not going to tell anybody that, and I'm not going to be able to meet the people who can actually introduce me to him.
Right. Wow. Yeah. And you told him that you were the dope CFO. What did he say? I would love to know his reaction.
Oh, well, I didn't really get to talk to him a lot because he was, it was the concert.
Oh,
and so he performed, and then he came down, I got a picture, and then I talked to his people.
Okay,
and so then I talked to some of his people, and they said that they can set up a meeting for me, and I actually just got an email. It's on my Facebook. I didn't put it on my LinkedIn, but I just got a message from one of them, and they said that he may be able to meet with me early September. He'll be coming to Vegas. So I'm just hope. I don't know if the guy is serious or not, but I'm just in my mind. Okay, I know he wants to meet me. I got some great opportunities for him.
Exactly. So Snoop, if you're listening, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you're right, though. I think sometimes we do focus too much on the how, and then we get really frustrated because we don't know the how. And there's a lot of things you don't know that you don't know. And it's even better that you don't know everything because you probably won't do it.
Yeah, exactly.
So what challenges have you faced while being self-employed that entrepreneurs and entrepreneur hopefuls should be aware of today?
So it's not very easy. I mean, we're raised to want things guaranteed and things to just have a clear path on exactly how this is going to happen. So we have a training program, and we have students who come into the training program, and we get on the phone with them, and they're like thinking about, I want to leave my corporate job, or I want to try this, and they want us to guarantee that they're going to land 5 clients and make 6 figures and do all this. There are no guarantees. Right. There aren't even any guarantees when you go to university that you're going to come out with a job.
That's very true.
It's all about, the work that you put in. I mean, you can go to the same university and one person comes out as a CEO of something, the other person comes out as a staff person.
Right.
It's all about the amount of work and effort that you put into it. And so, the challenge is just believing in yourself. A lot of times people, when they're starting a business, they're thinking, okay, first I got to figure out what my name is, and then get my business license and get my business cards and get my website set up, some flyers and all this stuff. And they're focusing on all these things rather than just focusing on, let me make my first dollar. Let me even see if anybody wants this thing. And so we tell a lot of people, don't worry about your website. Put something on your LinkedIn profile, and if somebody asks you more information, tell them to go to your LinkedIn profile. That's good enough. And then get them, show them that you can solve their problems, which is the number one thing. If you can solve somebody's problem, they will pay you to do that. If they will pay you to solve their problem, now you know you have a viable business. And then once you start making enough money, now you can think about building a website. Because before you make money, you don't even know what to put on the website because you don't even know what exactly the people are going to pay you for. You might have an idea that I want to sell widgets, but then when you talk to them, they might say, I want you to operate the widget for me. I don't want you to just sell it to me. And so now you have a whole different business. So the key advice is to just go out there and do it, start making your first dollar, and then worry about the back end and all that other stuff that you need to do.
That is true. I mean, I find that a lot of times, and I've done that before, get caught up in the branding rather than just getting your first client. And I think once you get your first client, it is very empowering. You're like, okay, I got this. Or, it gives you feedback if you are doing the right or wrong thing.
Yeah, absolutely.
So this leads us to our rapid fire questions, just for the listeners to get an idea of, you as a person. So the first question is,